Cammy. We figured try to avoid the microphone, less work, so hopefully you can all hear me in the back, all in front. So we just wanted to get a quick meeting together, give everyone a status update from the first quarter. So all the numbers I'll be presenting are just from the first quarter of 2022. So I want to say thanks to Virginia who put these slides together and for the numbers. She does a fabulous job. Unfortunately, can't be here today, but so we'll quickly go over the numbers and then some Deacon's matters at the end after going through the financial status, and then I think Dan has a few words to share at the end. So just kind of give you a quick overview. So we'll first go over kind of the quarterly expectations with what we budgeted for 2022, and then we'll go through the actual numbers. So Virginia put a great slide together. I'm not going to go through all the numbers, as you can see them up there. So for the first quarter, we expected receipts or income to be around $47,000. Our expected expenses were around $59,000. So we were expecting a net loss or a difference of negative $12,000 for the first quarter. A lot of large expenses come through the first quarter, and especially with snow plowing and so forth. So it's just something that way the fundraisers happen and the way the giving and large expenses, we were planning on a deficit of around $12,000. So as you see the natural numbers, I wanted to give you that kind of expectation that we were expecting a loss. And that, so without the PCC rental down in our lower level, we would have expected a loss of $34,000 for this year. But the overall, throughout the year, we're expecting a loss of $10,000. But for right now, we're really just focusing on the first quarter. Again, so we can just focus on the first quarter again, and looking at January 1st through March 31st, that's our first quarter. We did expect a deficit budget of around $12,600. So let's look at the actuals now compared to the budget. So the actuals, we brought in receipts of $46,000 approximately. We are expenses, so actual was just under budget of about $1,000 under budget, which is pretty good. We'd still like to see that number a little higher, but we were pretty much on budget. The expenses were a little lower than budget, which is always a good thing. So our actual numbers for receipt there are about $55,000 for expenses, and we budgeted $59,000 approximately, just under $60,000. So there we were about $4,600 below what we budgeted for expenses just for the first quarter. As you can see, we budgeted a $12,600 loss, so we just went over, but we are actually $9,000 difference under actual. So still not good, but we did budget a loss of $12,000. We have a loss of $9,000 through the first quarter. So she kind of specifies there the differences between the budgeted and receipt expenses. So it's definitely not a great situation we're in, but definitely we expected a loss here for the first quarter. So why were some of the actual expenses lower than the budget? So the snowplow budget or removal was $3,000 under budget, so we had a very good year for snow, as you all know. It wasn't a hard hit year for snow, so that's a huge expense that we saved money on. Also, when we split the expenses with PCC this year for the snowfall, so that was definitely something that has helped us out tremendously. So also was the personnel. As you can see there at the kind of second to last major bullet point, our savings for personnel was $400. And then the overall other categories were over $1,000 cumulatively. So we have definitely some areas where we saved that were lower expenses than we budgeted for. So kind of give you a financial status where we are currently as of the end of March of 2022, excuse me. We have roughly $30,800 in our checking. Savings are at $39,400 approximately. Our memorial fund is at $33,130. We do have a separate building fund now, so that was one thing we made change recently. So we do have a separate building fund account, and we do have approximately $42,788 in there. And we have a few CDs. We have a library CD at $2,500, the CD number 2, which is at $7,700. So our total assets at the end of March were $156,471. We do have a separate endowment fund that we do keep separate, and we have about $5,000, $4,097 in there. We do keep that in the same accounts, but we do earmark that separately for future use and investing. So we are looking at that, which I'll bring up in a moment. Any questions about our current financial status or any of the expenses or income receipts for the first quarter? Okay, so I'll give you a kind of overview. So a few Deacon's points we don't have slides for at all, but I did want to make a couple notes. So first of all, thank you for everyone who's giving. Vanco is going very well. So if you don't know, Vanco is our online portal for giving. More and more people have chosen to give through the online portal, which is great. It's easier for us for Deacons, but also an easy way to give on a regular basis, especially as we're in summer here. I know most people have traveling plans or visiting relatives, or just missing Sunday because of a picnic or obligation. Great way to give regularly if you aren't able to make it. So you can give through that way. Go to eChurch on our website, and it will prompt you through that giving process through Vanco. We ask that you do ACH or pull from a direct bank account. That does save on the fees for St. Thomas. If you can have the option of credit card or debit card or ACH directly from your bank account, we strongly suggest if you can, do it from a bank account. There's significantly less fees, and more of your donation is received by St. Thomas. So that was definitely something you should consider. It is the summertime. I know it's hard to think, but we're also right around the corner for budgeting season for 2023. So we should be receiving, if you're part of a committee, especially a chair, you should be receiving soon the budgeting forms for next year. So we'll be getting in your mailbox in the office the budgeting forms, which if you've been a part of it before, it will include what you've given or what you have spent so far for 2022. What was your last year's spending and expenses, and kind of what you project for 2023. So if you're part of the committee, look out for that and return them as quickly as you possibly can, so we can budget accurately for next year. And then the last thing is, you'll hear more about this, but St. Thomas was very fortunate to receive a large memorial gift. So this was a pretty significant gift that we received, which is great for St. Thomas. There's some work to be done on how we can use this to better St. Thomas. You'll hear about this more. So just wanted to make you aware that there is some good news that we did, fortunately, receive a large or significant gift that we were looking to better St. Thomas with.
Was that included in the 156,000 assets?
No, that's a great question. So that 156,000 was at the end of the first quarter. This was received at the start of the second quarter. So that figures that you see there were not included, did not include the memorial gift at all. So that is separate and not included here. Any other questions? Yes.
This comment, that amount was in honor of Judy Stevens?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, exactly. So this was in honor of Judy Stevens and made in her honor. Doug, you have a question?
I was just, of the 42,000 in the building fund, is there capital projects or anything like known the rest of the year that's gonna tap into that at all?
Right now, knock on wood or say a prayer, we don't have anything. We did use some of that, as you know, to renovate the basement or lower level for the PCC rental, which we are not giving back. We decided at the last congregational meeting, we're just using that money to tap into that, but I think that's already spent. So right now, we don't have any major plans to tap into that, and hopefully we don't have to, but of course it's there just in case something comes up. But good question. Any other questions about deacons or anything like that? Well, thank you. If you have any questions that you don't want to ask publicly or whatever, feel free to see me or any other deacons, and we can gladly try to get an answer. And I'll turn it over for Dan for a quick word.
Thank you.
Did you say quick word? Because by my watch, the preaching was kind of short today. So in meetings like this, we have an opportunity to think about our finances, and often our focus goes on the spending side, what we're spending and that kind of thing. So I want to just take a moment to think with you about the giving side of this equation as well, which calls for a lot of faith, especially in an environment like the one we're part of right now. I mean, you can't open up the news without hearing something about recession or just disaster of, slow or quick. You see this in the prices of where you go. I mean, a bag of coffee, let's not get into that, but gas prices. When I was in Turkey 2 weeks ago, it was 26 lira a liter for gas. That's not registering. So then I went to Rhodes, and it was a little over €2 for a liter. Now in American, that's close to $9 a gallon in Rhodes. All right, Turkey was only at 6, but that was 2 weeks ago. We feel this, right? This is real. This is real. And so when we come to a report like this, we can feel the pressure and thinking, wait a minute, something's got to change or shift or whatever. But it's important for us as the people of God to keep trusting God, even when it comes to the matter of money. And to realize that the giving that we do is a matter of several things. It's a matter of discipline. It's something that we do on a regular basis. Ryan talked about using the online portal as a way to encourage that, but giving ought to be a matter of discipline. It certainly is a privilege for us to give, right? It is a privilege for us to give, to take a portion of what we've received and hand that over for something that does not have a direct benefit to us as individuals. And that is a privilege for us to do that. And it's in recognition of the way God takes good care of us. Our personal status shifts over the course of our lifetime, right? It ebbs and flows. And it is routinely a challenge to be generous for different kinds of reasons. And yet this is the call of Scripture to be givers. As followers of Jesus, we imitate Jesus, and Jesus is nothing if not generous. So as we are saying yes to this Lord, part of what we're doing is agreeing. This is how we want to behave as well. This is who we want to be. And that has to do not just with our money. Sometimes we can focus on our money, and money has a place without question, but it also is a matter of our time and our energy, of maintaining an openness to looking around us and saying, where are the needs? To what am I drawn? How can I help? Questions like these are prompted by the Spirit who we're talking about in our services. And as we give attention to these questions, we find that the Spirit is with us, helping us to come to respond to these questions and filling us so that we do want to give and find ways to pull that off. So my word of encouragement to all of us is that we keep faithfully following the Lord when it comes to these matters of giving, trusting that the Lord who has cared for us, the Lord who has been providing for us, will continue to do so, even in the midst of what's going on, right? I mean, that's a regular challenge. And sometimes it just becomes more pronounced. But it's always a challenge to trust the Lord. So let's keep doing that. Let's keep trust in the Lord as we go. Let's encourage one another. Let's recognize that even in our church, people are at different places. And let's trust that the Lord will give us what we need so that we can do what he calls us to do. All right? Can I pray for us? Would that be all right? Loving and gracious God, thank you for who you are. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for all that you give. And as we think about this church and this situation and the finances and the expenses and the income and all the rest of it here at St. Thomas, God, we want to keep doing that with you in mind. We want to be faithful. We want to be creative and courageous and keep moving into what you call us to do. So please guide us in that. Please empower us for that. Please keep fanning that flame in our lives. We thank you for the church that you called us to be part of. We ask that you'd help us to be faithful in our support of it. And we commit this to you through Christ the Lord. Amen. And Ryan's still here for questions. So.
You can leave, Bob made a note, you can leave the chairs just as they are for tomorrow morning, so you don't need to put the chairs away. I'll be back if there's questions. Thank you.